What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a great day, by the way. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your incredibly busy days, looking at charts that are going down and coming to hang out with me and the wider community as well. So shout out to everybody tuning in. It's a big action-packed show tonight. Big headline on the thumbnail. It's over. The bear market's here. And we're going to zero. And we're going to talk about why that is. Also, we're definitely kind of in a world where I think something isn't right, which is creating some of this volatility. You could argue maybe it's the AI bubble, maybe it's OpenAI, maybe it's Oracle that we've talked about, all of this kind of stuff, all right? Let's talk about what it is. Let's talk about what we need to be aware of, and I guess, is there further downside? All of that we'll answer tonight, hopefully, in tonight's live stream. So let's get into everything you guys want to talk about. Interesting, being a super crazy volatile day. The good news is, looks like the government shutdown's ended. That's a positive news story. However, that's about as good as it gets, all right? So, like I said, we're going to be diving into some charts. We'll take a look at some macro. We'll look at the pre-markets. What was interesting, I think, today was markets opened and Bitcoin was like, hey, I'm up for pumping if you guys are, by the way. I'm kind of up for you guys, making this happen. And then everyone was like, nope, we're going to sell everything. Behave says, loved your XRP video. If you haven't seen that XRP video, you should definitely go and watch it. Because as much as not many people are watching that video, I think that is one of the most pivotal XRP videos out there right now. Everyone's like talking about, Kalshi prediction markets and all the rest of it. Go and understand how crazy that video is. And more importantly, what has been said within that video as well. I highly recommend you guys go and check it out. Definitely worthwhile. So, yeah, with that being said, I reckon it's just worthwhile bringing the charts up here and getting into a bit of analysis and trying to work out what it is. Iran, yeah, I saw that. I actually have that news story that I was going to bring up, which I think started the nervousness in the market, but it hasn't really helped to then post that with all of the other stuff that's kind of come in. So anyway, as always, if you are brand new here, by the way, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget, hit the follow button if you're on TikTok as well. Does help out the channel, does keep us moving and grinding away. Like I said, we're trying to keep everyone dialed in. We're trying to keep the markets hot, and we're trying to understand what is going on in a very, very challenging time right now. But hopefully we can kind of answer any of your queries, concerns, or anything in between, all right? So let's get into the Bitcoin chart, and then we'll get into some of your favorite altcoins and try and understand what's going on. So we were talking yesterday about this significant breakdown here, this really descending channel here, which, you could argue is just a bit all over the place. But, something like that, check out this move that we got, back sort of end of December, the kind of early January hype. We're still kind of on track with some of these moves. You can see here, this is super rough, by the way, but FYI, you can see where we've just hit some of these key areas on, here, where we see this kind of move. I saw some people, by the way, had this like chart, and it was way better, like just seemed to be way better than mine. Maybe that's a bit better actually. So yeah, so you can see like these key areas here where we've hit this line, all of which have been bearish retests. When we actually break this trend, we actually then saw uptrends come in. But, historically, this is kind of where we are. This is where we need to focus on right now, because in my opinion, this is going to define bull or bear market. All right, that's my opinion. H-bar, why do you think it will do later this year? Stick around. We'll talk a look at H-bar in just a minute. All right, bear market simple. Yeah, Mark, that's kind of where I'm at as well. That's kind of where I'm at. The debate will be, is it a super dumperino bear market, or is it going to be something a little bit lighter? So we'll dive into that. So here you go on the, this is kind of on the 12 hour. So where we're interested in is down here right now. This is kind of where we're at. And if we go into the 1 hour chart, you can see kind of, almost like it's kind of crazy to think about, really. Let's just call it as it is. So you can see here, this is Monday. We rallied into the kind of open here all through Monday, and then we opened here on day. Now, what's interesting to note here is this key line here, this area of real price action. Can I make these like macro things I can just change as like quick as it can be? Maybe I need to have a look at that. Can I make that? No, okay. All right, whatever. All right, whatever. So yeah, this kind of hold on this pattern here. Now, there is something really interesting that I think we need to be mindful of here. And I've been talking about this for a while, but I will apologize now. I have kind of neglected to enforce this theory that I've had. Remember, we've been sort of breaking down key analysis here, ISM, all that kind of stuff. But if we just go for some real, just bog standard technical charts. By the way, just FYI, if you are, getting bullish on all the things, we're literally just putting together our new and updated chart pattern. This is what I'm doing at the minute. So these are all your favorite chart patterns that we're going to be releasing in the Discord. It's going to take you through all of the key charts you're going to need. Bear in mind, that is for our premium Discord users. That's alongside, by the way, trading indicators, trading strategies, how to trade the 20-day EMA, all sorts in there, by the way. You get it totally for free by becoming a channel member and ultimately joining our premium Discord service, as well as some VC opportunities that I think are coming up and a few other bits and pieces. All right, so definitely worthwhile being in there. So why is this level here being important? And, we were talking about this yesterday, but there is a very interesting correlation with something else. And I'm going to try and put it on here, right? And it's something that I think we need to be very much mindful of, and we need to be very much aligned on to what is happening, all right? So, in fact, I'm going to have to go down here, so apologies. This is the NASDAQ, all right? Now, as much as a lot of people have you believe, Erlon says clickbait, Brett. I don't think it's clickbait. If you don't think the bear market's here, that's fine. I've been holding off saying the bear market's here pretty much now for about a month. You can't deny what we've seen today. Erlon, if you believe the bear market is not here, you are absolutely entitled to it. But my entire thesis of this live stream is this is a bear market. So it's only clickbait if I talk about something completely different. And when everyone's in here, I say, no, I'm super bullish on the markets. I'm telling you, no. I'm going to show you exactly why I think this is a bear market. And as always with this live stream, this is not empty words. I'm going to back it up with some facts and some absolute data that supports that narrative. So stick around, all right? Stick around. I always like people having different opinions, and I welcome feedback all the time. So please do stick around. Give me a thesis. Give me your views. It's important, all right? So let me kind of go through. Everyone's bearish. Expect a move to catch most people off guard. Well, that's kind of what we got a little bit earlier on, and you'll see these wicks, but macro trend is down. So anyway, the NASDAQ, okay, dumped today. Now you would say, well, okay, that's fine to a bit. That's not a problem, is it? The NASDAQ dumping, that's a pretty standard box. That's a pretty standard thing that happens. It's why, okay? It's why. That's important. Clickbait is like bait and switch, right? Well, clickbait would be that I say, oh, it's a bear market, and then everyone comes in and I talk about something completely different. It's like when people say, XRP, this is serious for XRP, and then they talk about the ISM data that's been released and they don't reference anything to do with XRP. That's clickbait, in my opinion, where you sell one thing and you talk about something completely different. I am literally going to tell you why I think this is a bear market, or certainly the early stages of a bear market. So back on track. Stick around, everybody. It's not clickbait, all right? It's not clickbait. So the NASDAQ took an absolute dump here on up. And actually, NASDAQ futures, if you remember, we looked at this yesterday. We said the US markets looked terrible. In fact, we saw the S&P look like it was going to be okay, but the NASDAQ was under, as was the Hang Seng and a lot of the Asia markets they were under. So why is this important? Or certainly, why do we need to be mindful of this? So the NASDAQ at opens completely sold off. Now, this is all to do with China. Now, you may not think it is, but it is, right? Why? Because the fact of the matter is that China is now dumping a load of money into their AI boom, all right? So they are going big on AI. They're also just about to potentially get their hands on some of the most powerful chips ever made. But the AI race and their latest model is going to be released. So essentially, what does this mean? You have an over exuberant AI bubble right now, okay? You do. And what's interesting with the NASDAQ is, look at the stock market today. Oracle is about to go bust, okay? Well, it's not going to go, okay, let's wind that back a little bit too, but you're getting a bit excited about yourself. Oracle's not going to go bust, but there is a severe funding crisis within AI, right? So there is a severe funding crisis, which basically means that all of this money that's being dumped into AI, all these data centers, all this kind of crazy news is all now starting to unwind. And this is making markets even more nervous. In fact, Nvidia themselves were dumping huge amounts of money into OpenAI, which essentially is a cesspit of money, by the way, at the minute. But Nvidia stalled its $100 billion investment into OpenAI. So Nvidia stalled its $100 billion OpenAI partnership amid doubts about transaction size and business discipline. Basically, their worry here is that they give loads of money to OpenAI and they just piss it up the wall. That's the problem, right? They invest in partners and then buy Nvidia chips, raise circular finance concerns. This should scream problem. So think about it this way, right? So Nvidia takes their money, they invest in OpenAI or ChatGPT. ChatGPT then go and buy chips from Nvidia and put money back in Nvidia. Essentially, Nvidia are buying their own chips off themselves. They're just using OpenAI as like this money. OpenAI maintains a 1.4 trillion in potential commitments across Microsoft, Amazon, Oracle, and AMD. Now, remember, we saw Microsoft totally tank. So you got this enormous sell-off here on tech stocks. So anything from Meta down to Oracle, Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, 2.8. Think about this. Nvidia at one point was nearly a $6 trillion market cap project, right? It is not there right now. And that's important to, it's important to understand because it sort of gives us a sense of what's going on. $4.38 trillion right now. So, in theory, you could argue that Nvidia has lost, getting on for nearly $1 trillion since its peak. All right. It's important to think about, which is, it's an insane amount of money. So you've got this big sell-off here in Nvidia stocks, as well as obviously all this stuff going on with China, where their new AI models coming out. Do you remember when they launched their latest, I can't remember what it's called, DeepSeek or something? Markets totally freaked out. And the way you can tell this as well, by the way, is as much as this pains me and I don't want to see this, gold was skyrocketing again, silver up 7%, and futures look incredibly bullish. But people are getting this wrong, and I still remain this. As much as people send me DMs going, bro, you need to stop telling people that silver and gold are going to be a problem. It's fine. You're like, it's not fine. It's not fine. And it's going to be a problem. It just is a case of when is it going to be a problem? Similar to the AI boom. And it may all come down together. The AI goes kaput. The bubble bursts. That means that then everyone defaults, which means the banking system collapses because everyone's over leveraged, which means that the government has to bail out the banks, which then means that they have to sell their gold and silver, which crashes the gold and silver market, which then essentially means everyone's going to have to try and get an asset that is not susceptible to market crashes, which will be Bitcoin. All right. Maybe that's the play. I don't know. But it certainly feels like there's something brewing here on the back of it. So this is obviously a rather large concern and certainly is something to be very mindful of. It could, however, be worse. You could be Tom Lee right now that's currently sitting around $7.2 billion in the hole. Imagine that conversation, albeit Tom himself saying that they absolutely have a robust, bulletproof balance sheet with over $400 million being generated annually by Ethereum staking at 2.3%. It's pretty interesting when you think about those numbers. So, it could be worse. You could absolutely be Tom Lee right now. But these all interlink, in my opinion. These all come together. The fact that commodities are moving means that people are going to sell risk-off assets. People don't want to take the risk. What's even more interesting, though, is that the altcoin market actually held up today. Now, is this the rotation of Bitcoin? No, it just means that people have been dumping BTC and we're not really sure what the hell is going on and it's all a bit weird, right? What's going on, OB? Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hunter's in the house. Well, what's going on? Cheese. Axis Jasmine, hell good. Yeah, also kind of doing all right. CJ, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in, everybody. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're brand new here as well, don't forget, join our totally free Discord. It is in the link in the description. Also, it's in my bio TikTok, so check it out. Get in there. It's definitely worth it. By the way, we vet every single person going into our Discord by a simple task of can they complete a verification? And if you can, you get in, which hopefully means that we get less choppers in our Discord, which generally is a good news story. So, Ripple has significantly expanded its European banking operations as of early February 2026, most notably by securing a full EU electronic money institution license from Luxembourg. Yeah, Betamax, you need to go and watch that video I put out earlier on. It talks about how that then unlocks 27 other EU countries that basically then now can operate USD and XRP in. It's pretty freaking insane. I would definitely recommend watching that. Not right now, we're live streaming, but definitely recommend go checking it out. So, with all of that being said, let's back to the macro time frame. What are we looking at here? What is the next move? Now, like we said yesterday, this wick is insane. This is an enormous wick here on the 12-hour, which could signal uptrend momentum. That doesn't mean that the bear market isn't here. It doesn't mean that we aren't going to go to zero, right? The Discord is a chopper free zone. Is it, Mark Noby? Is it actually a chopper free zone? I feel like it is. I don't get a lot of loads of like scammy stuff in there. I feel like we've sort of managed to do it. 100% I think XRP will decouple from BTC to some matter of sense. Yeah, maybe. Tom Lee has told his secretary that he's not available for client. There was a poly market going on that they thought he'd flee the country, which is hilarious. Yeah, which is kind of cool. Yeah, look at that with the gold coin. Yeah, Obi's looking fresh right now with that gold coin. Don't forget, they go up the longer you are. I think we've done ruby and platinum as well, so definitely stick around for that. So what's going to be interesting here is if BTC gets back above this kind of 77,000 range, would actually mean that this is just an average consolidation range that we've been between these two lines. This wick is obviously very, very important in the sentiment that this shows that we actually have a macro uptrend coming into the market. Now, don't be fooled. This is still very much bearish on the longer term, but what does this now mean then as a potential Fibonacci if we were to take a look at this? This is why 78,679 is a key level for us to break. And more importantly, where does that then sit? Well, if we then take this higher range, we can start to see the 786 there at 78,264, which essentially is what we talked about. A breakup of that could see us retesting the 618. Again, that 786 though, look at that line there, 78,219, very, very clear level there that we've got for BTC. Again, could see a push to the upside. That would be a benefit, and actually momentum's coming in. Also, the macro trend line, you can see how important this kind of comes. These are where you want to be at, by the way. Start on a bigger time frame. What is it saying? What does structurally the market look like? I might even delete. We can probably delete that one. Probably delete these two, actually. Probably delete these two just to clean up the charts a little bit. So again, you know, we've come down, we've retested this sloping trend line. What you can see here is every time this is wicked, this means that this actually is a very, very important trend line. So what does tomorrow look like? Well, a break back above 78,300 could actually be a strong potential move and actually could start to move. Look at this. This is the low range on the VPVR, which tells us that we could start to come up. However, this is where it starts to get pretty interesting here on a more broader market structure. Okay, so I'm just going to take these lines off just real quick. So we'll put them back on. But look at this. You are at a very important level, I think, for BTC. And what's important to reference here is the multi-cycle trend line. So back to 2024 here, you can see this was a key resistance line that we didn't break here on the monthly candles as we came back down. Then we retested again and got rejected. And then we broke through. So important that we know that if we break through this trend line, this is actually then seen as a bullish move. However, this does also play out to the downside. If we lose this line, my opinion is we're into Goblin Town. 50-day EMA, definitely retest 65,000 would be my next call. So me personally, and some people might think I'm insane, by the way, but if we lose 73K on a monthly close, which I know we've got the end of Feb, or even a weekly close is probably a safer bet, actually, then I probably would move another 25% into stablecoin. Why? Because I'd rather get into stablecoin here at 74, because in my thesis, we go to 67 here. And I'd rather buy back in with that money here at 67 versus just hold this down. Okay, that solves no purpose and it does nothing in terms of where I want to get to. Now, understand though why this is such an important line and ultimately where we could get to. When we start talking about low ends here on 65K as well, just to give you an idea of why that chart is so important, again, you start to get into a multi-cycle low here. So you can see where we retested. This was the previous all-time high back in 2021, the slight retest that we didn't quite break, but again, was up there. And then as we moved up in this, 2024, look at this, big consolidation around this line. So, you know, my view here is that as we come down, this probably then signals a pretty solid line. So what would I want to, you know, what would I expect to sort of see here as a really bearish scenario? And I'll show you a couple of other reasons why I think the bear market is certainly on the cusp of being in. Is that you'd break down here on the monthly, you're going to come down and retest this range at 66. We could hold here with a potential then slow bounce back to the upside. What you've got to reference is this pocket of liquidity here is pretty lame, right? There's not a lot there. So yeah, we'll see where that one goes. But I think when you talk about this is a critical line right now that we are holding before we potentially then go way lower down here. And we certainly come down and retest this 50-day EMA, which I think is worthwhile. Enough of the mopey and footy clickbait titles. It only makes more vulnerable people panic and makes things worse. Why? I can't believe the title's triggering so many people. I really can't understand it. For literally the last month, I have been like, I'm bearish. You cannot deny, right? You cannot deny what the charts are telling us. Like, that's not a clickbait title. I'm essentially telling people what I'm doing here. And I think it's naive to believe that you should be posting something like, oh, everything's fine. Don't sell. It's nonsense. Come on. You've got to be in a right world, right? I absolutely don't believe that my titles are clickbait. I don't believe they are. And if you align with the title, the crypto bull run is over. That's the title. I think that's a safe bet. I'm getting triggered here, but I think that's a safe bet, right? This is way worse than you think it is. It's literally way worse than you think it is. 5 months we have now been downtrending, You can't deny facts. This is one of the worst pushdowns in price since 2020. Like, it's crazy. Look at this. 6 months. We haven't done this. 2021 bull market, right? 3 months down. Then we got a green month. Then we went further too. Didn't touch 6 months. Go back here, back to 2019. Nope, not there. We have to go back to 2018. 2018, right? To understand that we are in a similar pattern. What was 2018? A bear market, all right? So just get away with the clickbait stuff. It's not clickbait, right? It's not clickbait. This is my opinion. Yeah. I think it's really bad. Are you saying it's even worse? I think it's, and do you know what? Do you know what? My point has been proven here. My point is being proven because people are rejecting what they're seeing, which is a silly thing to do, in my opinion. All right. Look, I am the biggest bull on the planet, and I want to see this go to the moon, by the way. I really, really do. But you cannot simply deny it. And today, people say, well, Two-Bit, hold on a minute. You weren't in a bear market yesterday. Like, you weren't bearish yesterday. Yeah, I've always said, and I've been saying this now for the last probably month, I am short-term bearish. I went 50% into stablecoin at 108. That was where I got to. But you cannot simply deny what's in front of you, which is even with Saylor pumping the market, even with a pro-crypto president, a pro-crypto vice president, a pro-crypto CFTC chair, a pro-crypto SEC chair, we are still seeing more aggressive selling than we've seen since 2018, right? You can't deny those facts. Now, where do I want, and what's important here is to understand it, because if you sit in a world of going, it's FUD, it's clickbait, you don't know what you're talking about, people are going to get wrecked. Like, people are going to get wrecked. That's why, by the way, people should join our free Discord, all right? Free Discord. Tomato Pete says, do you have a nice big hat for being the mayor? Oh, dear. Axe21, thank you, Mo. Please ignore the activity. You're doing great work. No need to explain anyone. Let them. Yeah, I mean, I haven't even seen any of these before. I obviously welcome feedback. It's important that people do give a view. I think if you looked at other channels, and by the way, people are just going to go, oh, it's way worse. The bear market's here. And they'll talk about something completely nonsense, by the way. But post QT consolidation phase, no worries. Fed liquidity is, well, here's the thing with the Fed liquidity. You're right. But here's the thing with Fed liquidity. The TGA is actually increasing. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but the Federal Reserve is stacking cash. Why is the Federal Reserve stacking cash? That's what we've got to ask ourselves, because if the government essentially is now going to reopen after 4 days, they didn't need to stack it. They stacked nearly $200 billion in the last week. It's like, why? Why is the TGA stacking so much money? I don't know. But like we said, here on the monthly candles, these are where we've got to be really, really cautious. Also, if you look at the total global market cap, by the way, anyone who thinks it's a clickbait title, $430 billion has been wiped out of the global crypto market in literally 2 weeks. All right. So again, and what the thing I'm looking for here, and you're looking for bounces, you're looking for anything to give you some element of, okay, it's fine. So this was the total market structure. We totally lost that. That's absolutely donezo right now. Yeah, we bounced back a little bit, but look at this. Pure and unadulterated free fall that we've got right now in the overall market. So you'd argue and say, well, hey, look at this. Total market cap excluding BTC, ETH, and stablecoins are actually doing pretty well. But this is the federal balance sheet. Why is it skyrocketing? It's nearly as high as it was back for the previous government shutdown. And that lasted 43 days. Now, this could tell us that maybe the Fed was nervous. Maybe they thought it was going to be a bigger thing. That's kind of where we are. That's kind of where we are, in my opinion. Yeah, I also have a neat walking stick and monocle. I like it there. My Zebek order filled, so I'm happy about that. Jasmine getting a nice little pump too. Yeah, I mean, altcoins are actually performing reasonably okay today. And by the way, I'm fine with that. I'm fine if everyone wants to dump their Bitcoin and buy altcoins. I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea, by the way. But yeah, anyway, that's kind of where we are. Sorry, TikTok, I just totally neglected you guys were there, so apologies. Nathan, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Jesus, I don't care what anyone says. They keep pushing the market down like this. Diminishing returns tell why big players better. I mean, that's true as well. Which is why, I mean, it's interesting that the market structure bill hasn't gone through yet. But anyway, that's for a different video altogether. So yeah, so this is where we're at. So can this get worse? Yes, absolutely it can get worse. Now, there is some slight positivity that we've got a little bit of a bounce here off this lower end support, but structurally, we are heading down, and you can't deny that, whether you want to accept it or not. And again, I'm only here giving my view. It'll always be honest, and it'll always be my view on what I'm doing. Damien, thanks so much for the heart means. People can choose to do things. People cannot. Am I going to sell my Solana? No. I've got Solana that's staking at 6.5%. Cool, right? Am I going to sell like Pepe that I'm like 80% down on? Probably not. Probably not. So yeah, the market looks like a great opportunity. And that's the other thing. And actually the reason why I think it's good to accept maybe that the bear market is here is because then you can start to strategize how you're going to play for the next bull market or the next uptrend in the market, because the bear market is the bear market. Remember, it's way harder to deliver in a bull market than it is to do in a bear market. Buy good coins. So anyway, structurally, this is where we sit right now on this. Now, the other thing to note here, which is always worthwhile to, really get into, is what have you got in other top coins? So Ethereum totally shit the bed today for no reason, totally and utterly dumped, okay? And is not looking particularly great. We've lost all of these gains going all the way back to, pre kind of Trump inauguration day, all right? So we know that this is pretty painful as well here. On Ethereum, Solana doing the same. What's interesting though is you've got some of these big coins, again, that are taking some big hits. And like we said, into the stock market, the DXY continues to push down. The NASDAQ is super interesting, and the S&P. And like we said, silver and gold are heading up. This is telling us that people are going risk off. If people go risk off, they ain't buying crypto. So you can argue what you want that it's not a bear market, but people don't buy coins in bear markets. Only the sensible people buy coins in the bear markets. US Treasuries look pretty bearish as well, by the way. And like you said, stocks obviously taking a big old hit here in the last 24 hours. All right, so that kind of gives you a bit of analysis on the charts. We'll keep an eye on BTC. We'll see what it does. I mean, I personally think a short entry could be pretty interesting in this market, depending on what we get as a close here. Potentially you'd be looking at a short from 77 back down to retest this low range at 74. May end up being a good one. Again, worthwhile watching, by the way. I'm down so much, but I'm hanging in and hoping for a long bull. I mean, so am I, hopefully. So am I. Again, we talk about some of these trade setups. Like I said, we are currently writing our new bit of info for our premium Discord, by the way. Simply head down to the bottom of the screen, click join, become a channel member, or go to whoop.com, search for 2-Bit Crypto Alpha Club, and you gets you into our Discord, as well as 2 trading bots and everything else that are all in there. But like I said, if you're brand new, we are literally just doing our full technical analysis breakdown, all of what you need to be looking for, all some of the charts that everyone's going to be using for trading and all the rest of it. So again, getting that Discord, in my opinion, it's totally 100% worth it. All right, let's get into some headlines, by the way. This was news this morning. US military shot down an Iranian drone near the US naval aircraft carrier in the Arabian Sea. Good news, it didn't escalate anything. This could have got pretty painful pretty quick. But first signs that markets are skittish. I actually posted out, basically kind of saying, look, liquidity is very thin and markets are so fragile right now that the smallest bit of news and a negative sentiment is going to nuke markets, right? No pun intended, by the way. To appreciate the input holding cash on the side, feel like there's more downside. Yeah, exactly, 37. And you don't necessarily, look, I'm not 100% in stable coins. I'm about 55% in stable coins. Cool. If we were to drop, I mean, think about it, by the way, just FYI. We predict here as being our bear market target. In theory, we're already 14% away. So take 14% off your portfolio is about as low as you're going to go, potentially. I mean, we could go to 30K, but that's, again, for a totally different video. But, if you think about where we're hitting here at 73K, we're 8% away from my bear market target. It's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy. How about the Ondo news? What do you think? Seems bullish. Yeah, it seems really bullish. I like the fact that Ondo is still building, by the way. And that's a true test of coins. Sui's doing the same, by the way. So, yeah, I think there's definitely some good news. But, yeah, it's good that Ondo have kind of come out like that. Definitely, for sure. Not financial advice, never financial advice. When is the best time to exit, Bucko? I mean, you want to try and get a pump. If I'm honest, yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, you want to try and get a rally. So yesterday would have been a good time to take some. Again, you've got to do what's right for you. Would I exit every single thing in one clip? Probably not. Because remember, Trump's going to run this economy hot. The problem everyone has here is that the S&P is actually performing okay. It broke 7,000 today, which is insane. So, the S&P and the stock market's actually pretty good. Is Trump really going to care that the crypto market's not good? No, he's not. He's going to care that the S&P, the NASDAQ, and all the AI sector is going. That's why there's loads of government contracts out for AI companies. US government contract for AI. I like you said my sub going the whole time. Yeah, I do. I love that, by the way, Obi, and thank you so much for that. Also, you've had access to our premium Discord, which, again, was worth being involved in. But yeah, it's because you're a legend, mate. I appreciate it. Zach, what's going on? Pretty sure the Iran conflict will escalate sooner. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, what's good is, well, it's not good, but I guess the important bit is it hasn't escalated on some of the news we got. But yeah, we'll see. All right, let's get into then a little bit more. So, understand wealth by generation. Where does all the money sit right now? Unfortunately, all the people that will be investing in crypto, they don't have any money. All the people in the green are going to sell all their 10x overpriced assets to the group in the red. Apparently, this is what they're telling you. Thought it was worthwhile thinking. So these are all baby boomers. These are all your OG whales, which we've kind of seen a little bit. The problem is, whenever the economy is not great and things cost too much money, this group here doesn't come and buy Bitcoin. And essentially, Gen X and millennials are the two that are probably going to buy more Bitcoin or cryptocurrency assets. You can see there, artificially manipulate mortgage rates, artificially existing asset prices. This is why those people can't afford to buy any digital assets. Got to bring the cost down. That's what Kevin Washed hopefully is going to do, which then means that hopefully we'll get some more money pumped into the market. Now, we did discuss this chart yesterday, but I thought it was pretty interesting again. Is the same playing out? Unfortunately, it certainly is an argument to say that we are. Again, you can see kind of, this range here that we looked at yesterday is essentially saying the market topped out exactly when the market should have topped out. And now we are just seeing the decline. Again, is it just the same? If the bankers and the crypto folks can hash something out, a great reversal could be on the horizon. That bill is key, 100%. What you've got, though, at the minute is the banks are saying no. Think about this. And we talked a little bit about this the other day. Why the banks are so against the market structure bill, because it essentially could unwind the entire banking sector. That's the fact of it. If you can go and earn 4, 5, 6% with stablecoin, you could do it with 3 clicks of a button, you have access to it 24/7. Why would you ever put money in a bank again? And I genuinely think that's what banks are worried about. Now, my parents are at the latter end of their life, and they only just realized that internet banking's a thing. So even if we can get 20% APR on stablecoins, are my mum and dad going to go and all of a sudden get a phantom wallet and start staking their USDC? No, of course they're not. They're going to put it in the bank and earn 0.3% interest on it. But again, you think about what we just talked about, the millennials versus boomers. The millennials are the one that are going to be potentially looking at crypto assets. They're potentially going to be the one that less use bank accounts. I'm not saying I'm a millennial, by the way, I'm a baby boomer, but I don't really use it. Like, I don't really use the bank. I think it's a scam. I have a mortgage, I have my pension, and that's about as good as it gets. But pretty interesting chart here that could play out very favorably. Titan of Crypto giving us a good view here, saying the Bitcoin bottom is in 74,400. I don't think it is, though, Bitcoin boomer. Unfortunately, I think we are going a little bit lower, which is, on the cards. I think so anyway. I think so. We're at the point where everyone is losing hope. And when the big catalyst comes, and yeah, I mean, look, 100%, we could definitely be in a world of, of seeing this kind of big reversal. Like, we could totally see that. I'm not saying we couldn't, by the way. Trump is signing some sort of thing now, right? What's he signing right now? Hold on a minute. Let's have a look. What are you signing, POTUS? Is this the government shutdown stuff? Let me just bring him up. Sound things.
Industry.
Let's just get a quick listen. I don't know what he's on about, but might be interesting.
Incredible with shipbuilding, and I don't know if you saw that the United States of America, for the first time in over 30 years, beat Japan. We love Japan, great country, but their power in steel making, that we produce more steel this year than Japan. Think of that, more steel than Japan, and Japan is a powerhouse of that. And we were pretty much dead when it came to steel. So what do you think of that? And then, to me, when I heard that, we did more than Japan. It continues to fund deportation flights that are removing dangerous illegal aliens from our country. It continues historically successful efforts to reduce crime in our nation's capital. We have a very safe city right now. We have a city that is like a different world from what it was a year and a half ago, when you couldn't walk down a street without being hurt very badly. I want to say that in a nice way. Washington, D.C. is a safe city. Memphis, by the way, is down. Crime is down 77%. Amen. And in New Orleans, I don't know if you heard these numbers, but in New Orleans, we started 4 weeks ago, max. and crime is down 68%. It's going to be down to practically nothing within the next month.
I don't know if we're going to get any kind of economic boom on here, by the way.
We all have cut the number of murders in D.C. by 80%, and we have numbers coming up, newer numbers. We're down 97% in murders. It's a horrible thing to even be talking about, murders in D.C., but a lot of people were being killed in Washington.
I'm going to put him over here so that I can see what is being said, and then if there's any kind of monetary policy stuff, I'll bring it back up. All right, I'll bring it back up. Let's Bitcoin holding up here, nothing super crazy. So again, I'll keep it on the 6-7. All right, and we'll keep an eye on what's going on with it. I want to get into a little bit more of this stuff. He's just talking. Well, I mean, Zach, it feels like that. Mouse says surely our bottom of the bear market will be the top of the last bull, approximately. Obviously, nothing is 100%. So we did that before. We actually did put that on the charts that said, historically, the bottom of the the top of the bear market generally shows the bottom of the next, if that makes sense. So, for example, you would argue that this here was the top here back in 2021. So then the bottom would be around $68,000. If you look at it here, this is exactly the line here. So not quite the bottom, but this is, you kind of have to discredit this because this was FTX. So, you know, we're not going to get any sort of like crazy FTX thing. But yeah, in theory, yeah, you sort of, you know, get in a world, especially if you take it off the logarithmic scale, you get into a world where they are pretty much perfectly aligned to that point. So yeah, think about that as we sort of walk through that one as well, for sure. For sure. Okay, right. So let's continue on. What's he called? Ran Newman, or whatever it's called. Crypto Banter saying that this is the most important indicator that there is, and actually everyone's just looking out for this. I think too many people are telling us that the ISM is the reason that the bear market isn't here and that the bull market's fine. I think it's a good indicator. I think it's worth noting, by the way, but liquidity is the one thing I'm looking at. Money flow, particularly Federal Reserve money flow. How is that playing out in terms of treasury bills, all that kind of good stuff, right? Have you heard anything about Leora? No, I have not. That sounds wild, though. That sounds wild. I don't know what that is. But yeah, what's going on, Mouse? Stardog. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man. I saw you coming earlier, actually. Just say XRP already. XRP! What's going on, buddy? Welcome in, Michael Monteclair. Hope you're doing well. It's been a while. But yeah, Ran Newman. This one indicator that's front run every major Bitcoin move for 15 years. Yesterday, for the first time in 4 years, it flipped back into expansion. It's actually way more than that. It's like 20 odd years until it's been there. Not the halving, not M2. This one has a 100% hit rate. ISM at 52.6 versus 48.5 forecast. It's the highest since 2022. Past cycles, the ISM moves above 50, credit expands, and liquidity follows. Finally, Bitcoin moves with leverage. The only problem here, why I think that you can't necessarily just agree and go, oh, ISM, great news, let's all go into the freaking moon again, is you have to drive by liquidity. Stock markets are rallying. Stock markets are going insane, by the way. We absolutely kind of need to just be mindful of that. What happened to Raoul Pal and his banana zone? Well, he said the end of February. I mean, he did talk today, I think, and said, like, everything is where it should be, but I don't even think people like that thought BTC would be down at this rate right now. So, yeah, interesting to think about, by the way. Interesting to think about. And like I said, how do you drive liquidity? Liquidity will come from when people stop aping into gold and silver. That's where I think it comes from. Not necessarily a rotation, but when people just have a little bit more money on the market. My opinion, right? My opinion. There's significant EBM reform and all that. Whoa. What's going on, Vern? Good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. Drug prices, okay, fine, they're on that. Raoul Pal is all ISM now, like ISM matters. This is the thing, and I think what's going to happen is everyone's going to be like, whoa, hold on a minute, ISM, great, it's all going super bullish, let's go, baby. I think people need to watch liquidity way more than ISM. But what's interesting, remember, we talked about some of this, and I do like the narrative that I think gold will create. You know, maybe the bear market bottom, maybe. The big sell-off in gold, the capitulation out of commodities. Just my opinion, by the way. I mean, people think I'm crazy, but I can't help but think there is something bigger than this. Even the banks, remember we were looking at price predictions, even the banks right now, JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, UBS, SocGen, Goldman Sachs, HSBC, and Morgan Stanley, all are not betting on gold, right? Think about it. JP Morgan predicts 6.5K, UBS 6.2, Deutsche Bank 6,000, SocGen 6,000, Goldman Sachs 5,400, HSBC 5,000, Morgan Stanley 4,800. That's what they believe that gold price of 2026 is going to get to. Some of the biggest hedge funds and banks on the planet don't think gold gets past 6,000. Interesting. And again, they are obviously betting slightly against the fact that the dollar is weakening, which will be another reason why Trump's going to have to do something to stimulate the economy. Now, what that something is, we don't know. Maybe that's why the Federal Reserve's stacking loads of cash. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, what would be the tools that are available to him? Cut rates, give money to citizens, build infrastructure, allow companies to expand, drop tax rates. These are all things that Trump could do, really. Again, though, while he's going to do that, he's not just going to be like, oh my God, Bitcoin, it's down at $73,000. Scott, get that 1% off rate cuts. He's going to go, where's the stock market? Where's the S&P 500? Oh, it's a brand new all-time high again. So, all right, cool. Let's run it. Run it hot, baby. So, again, worth noting here to keep an eye on that. But, like we said, the important bit here is even some of these bigger banks don't believe gold is going much higher than 6,000. Interesting. By the way, 5,584 is the current all-time high that we have for gold here on this price. So, yeah, if you ask me, I think there's some pretty interesting statistics, and therefore I believe that they will create some of the downward pressure. Now, copper's starting to move. Silver futures look pretty bullish as well. So, again, we'll see how that plays out for sure. So, apparently, and, we like to bring you the absolute alpha, by the way, but tomorrow, an insider has revealed there could be a potential major development in the US cryptocurrency bill. Interesting. Regulation of cryptocurrency markets in the US once again rising to the top of the political agenda, with Eleanor Terra announcing that Democrats in the Senate are planning a closed-door meeting to discuss the bill concerning the structure of the cryptocurrency market. The bill concerns the structure of the market is stalled, particularly due to the disagreements over how to regulate interest and similar rewards. Now, interestingly, Michael Saylor gave an interview this morning with Maria, who is on Fox Business, I think, saying, look, I'm confident we're going to get it through. It's really important. We're not going back to enforcement through, strength or whatever it is, or jurisdiction through enforcement, whatever it was. So, clearly he's coming out as a bit of a kind of spokesperson, like, yeah, hey, look, we're going to get all over it. It's going to be super bullish. Get ready. It could signal a shift in the markets, which is important. Now, whether this plays out, time will only tell. But Bitcoin free fall, Trump took office as leverage turns macro wobble on the brutal cascade. And this is, again, the problem. Over leverage is the problem. Now, the quick rebound may be a positive, but we need to see people stop leveraging this market so insanely, right? And what I say about leveraging it, I'm not saying that you can't trade on like 5x leverage, 8x leverage. I'm not saying you can't do that, by the way. And if you want to do that, then I highly recommend checking out my exchange partner of choice, which is none other than Bitunix. They have absolutely all of the favorite top coins you need. Simply head on over here. I know it says the time has run out, but head on over there, click trade now. It's going to take you over here, $10,000 worth of new user sign-up bonuses, as well as no KYC, everything else, and their newbie bootcamp. Imagine that with an extra $6 just on the side for our free training courses. Absolutely bullish. Shannon says, I use Bitunix. It's amazing. There you go. It's one of the best platforms I've used so far. And again, you get some insane bonuses for signing up as well. So check out the link in the description or in the Discord. Head on over there and get trading with Bitunix right now. Definitely recommend it. It's worth it. So, this is the big thing, by the way. Markets, macro risk off drives crypto lower. People simply don't care. And we said that yesterday as well, by the way. People don't care about the crypto markets. They think it's going to zero. They think it's a scam. These are generally then for speaking of times when you should be buying the dip. And like we said, again, when it comes to crypto ETFs, it all got a little bit interesting. $563 million of crypto net ETF inflows for the last 24 hours, i.e. yesterday. Today definitely does not look like it's going to play out that way. Again, lots of selling. BlackRock dumping huge amounts of BTC, by the way, just FYI. But again, a solid day yesterday. But when you look at this day today, 1814, don't believe it. This will turn red, I think. I think they dumped a load. But look at that, 10,000 BTC they sold off. Pretty insane if you think about it, all right? Pretty insane. Can silver price recover to all-time highs? I mean, it probably can. Yeah, it probably can. Silver could definitely go back to an all-time high. Where's it at now? 85, 180. I mean, it's got to break the 20-day EMA at 91, which, again, could be a difficult task to get over, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The clarity law be November at the earliest, methinks. I mean, if it goes to midterms and they don't get in So if they run it to midterms, he's got to be a world of knowing that he's going to get in for the midterms. Because if he doesn't, then, you know, the Democrats take the House back. None of this will go through. None of this will go through. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Any thoughts on Hyper? I actually started tracking Hyper. It's doing well today. The only problem I think with this is it's probably really, really aggressively manipulated. That's just my opinion, because that's an insane move, by the way. But yeah, I mean, look, the perps trading platforms and all this kind of good stuff, you know, still probably has some sort of place out there. Whether it's going to, you know, do anything crazy, then, you know, maybe not. But yeah, Hyper looks like a decent trade. Also broke the 20-day EMA with a potential now retest on this lower range. And you got a bullish crossover here on the 20 and the 50 EMA. So worth watching. Yeah, Hyper might actually move. Similar with Jupe, really. Jupe got a decent move. Again, they've got revenue generation. I think that's why Pump probably is doing all right. I mean, Pump's up 5%. No surprise. It actually is generating revenue on that platform. So yeah, interesting. Final clear out for retail, hopefully, then a major recovery. Stevie XRP, maybe. I feel like we go lower though. That's just my opinion. I mean, Bitcoin right now is selling off. Not super crazy, but it is selling off definitely right now. So yeah, definitely worth watching in my opinion. Stewie says new to me, but they got everything. What's that? Any thought? Oh yeah, Hyper. Yeah, I've never used it as a platform, but yeah, BTC all-time highs, all really. Interest on BTC FUD, and sadly, many will fall for it, as evidenced by Curtis' comments. What's Curtis said? Curtis says, you've said all, but BTC, from what I've seen, the JE files, I'd rather not. Yeah, I mean, I think I said this to you guys yesterday. I'm not allowing myself to dive into the JE files. I don't want to, by the way. I don't want to. Because I feel like I can't afford enough mental capacity to it. Took all my mental capacity, by the way, to tile a room today. FYI, I am not a tiler, but what I can tell you is I've been tiled like a tiler today. Absolutely crushed it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I just don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into it, really. I don't want to get into the whole JE stuff. I just think, man, it's just going to hurt my head after a while. Let's stick with this. You know, I think someone put a post out earlier on that said, even if he is Satoshi, is it really, does it really make it worse? I don't know, by the way. I don't think he is. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Let's take a look on a little bit of a shorter time frame. Let's go into the 30-minute chart and try and work out. Let's try and give us a bit of an idea as to what's going to happen. What do we got? Well, look at this. Super interesting. Retesting the 20-day EMA. So are we about to break on the 20-day on the 30-minute chart? Well, potentially we are just, let's go down a little bit lower. Let's go to the 15-minute here. So we could get a retest right now, 75,819. So again, people will be like, holy shit, what are you talking about? We could see BTC drop down to this 20-day. This would play out. Now, you've got two scenarios that come from that. The down to the 75, retest, push higher, or continuation down to that trend line there. Potentially may come in, albeit that is probably the trend. But look at this, holding on the 20-day EMA here on the 15-minute chart. If you were scalping this, not necessarily my bag, but yeah. What's your thoughts on Zcash? Man, I mean, I think people will run that back up again, by the way. I really do, actually. I think Zcash will definitely get another pump, depending on whether you can time it. But it's hugely oversold right now. All of that narrative is. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, actually sold everything at a perfect time. There you go, Obi. Let's hope he's not Satoshi. Yeah, I know, definitely. Definitely. Also, all bleeding to zero against BTC. That will not change. That's true. That's true. But yeah, the Zcash chart's super interesting, by the way. Anyway, we'll come back to this 15-minute on BTC. Zcash was under 300, I think, wasn't it? When I looked, yeah. So 283 on Zcash. Looks awful, which, again, my view, by the way, is they will run this market. Oh, my God. Come on! I need to work out some macros to be able to put my chart here. Okay, yeah. Just in, President Trump signs the official bill ending U.S. government shutdown. Okay, that's what we've seen. So we're just waiting to see if there's any announcement of any anything interesting or any economic updates. Albeit Scott Bessent, Howard Lutnick, all those people aren't there. So I can't imagine we're going to get any sort of economic post or update. By the way, if you haven't already, people, please do me a quick favor, smash up the like button. We got like 60 likes here in the stream, over 120 of you guys in the stream. So do me a favor, hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed as well, we're on a journey. We're about 450 subscribers short of 40,000 subscribers, which is insane if you ask me. So if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, then please do so. I would massively, massively appreciate it. All right. So Zcash, I mean, Zcash definitely is looking, I mean, let's take it from there, from that kind of move right now. Zcash looks pretty bearish. That can be got rid of. So, yeah, what are we looking at here for Zcash? I mean, it's a descending triangle for sure. And, I mean, when you look at this structure, and, you know, we always talk about this. Again, this is kind of where you're going to get that absolute alpha. Because, we haven't finished it yet. But, again, you can look in this, and you'll be able to download this and just have it. And you can be like, okay, where and what does this pattern start to play out? Does it play out a double top scenario? Okay, what are the pros? Easy to identify. The cons, prone to false signals in highly volatile assets. Also, there are many false signals in high volatility crypto. This is what we're doing. You know, this is the stuff we're putting together for you guys. $6 a month, insane. Like I said, we want to make sure you get value out of our Discord group. So, yeah, maybe Zcash gets the bounce here. It has bounced a little bit. If markets come up with us, Zcash may run up to around 356, maybe. Doesn't feel like it. I think Zcash probably comes back down again. So, but yeah, watch out for Zcash. This one, I do think, however, will run this market back up. Iran still play out. I agree, Andrew. Yeah, we were talking about that at the start. We'll talk about that at the start for sure. I'll need to go. I'll catch up tomorrow. Much love to you. Obi, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully, there we go. Get in the Discord, whoever that is, you massive legend. Make sure you go and verify. It's so easy to verify, by the way, but so many people don't do it, which means they're bots. All right, so definitely going to do that. But yeah, Zcash, one to keep your eyes peeled on for sure. Pump, we've been saying for a while now, and I've been watching Pump as a potential mover, by the way, because, you know, it generates revenue. If you think meme coins are going to do something, if you argue, well, the bear market's in, then, you know, generally speaking, you probably do get an element here on Pump that could play out. No, it's probably more like there, isn't it, really? Probably more like that. You know, you could argue that Pump's sort of, you know, very, very similar pattern here. You might say, well, hold on a minute, 2-bit. Like, what the hell? Like, this breakout pattern here at the top. You know, this, again, was just the breakout here, the 20-day EMA. We lost the 20-day EMA. So, I mean, you could get a bounce off this low range here at 2021. Potentially here on Pump. Not a lot of volume here. So, could signal another move to the upside. But, yeah, we're going to have to watch that one. I'll have to watch that. Let's sit back onto BTC on the 15-minute. Let's just see what BTC is doing. Let's see how this is playing out here on the 15-minute. So, yeah, interestingly, coming down again here. So, again, we'd be looking for, you know, if you were looking to maybe enter a trade. I'm not saying you have to, by the way. Just always curious to see what's going on. The 20-day EMA, definitely something to look out for. Definitely. That guy from Pump is stopped. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Pelosi disclosed a sale of up to $500,000 worth of PayPal stock. PayPal is down 20%, man. Well, there's a few, isn't there? I've been seeing loads of them that are coming out now that are like insiders. Shannon says, should I open a 5x long for tomorrow? On what? Bitcoin. Let's do some analysis on it. Let's see. I'm down for it. Buying the dip, Ricky boy. What's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Good to see you, pal. This is what I don't get. You can put the lines wherever you want. Well, you're looking for... It's not really. You're looking for areas which have got consistent and deliberate price action. So, for example, have I deleted these? Yeah. So what you're looking for is what is the most common move. So for me, this is the top of the previous move. Yeah. So you know, this is the top here, and then this move here. But this is the top of this move. So then I'm looking for the bits where I'm going to hit the most touch points, because that tells me where you've got psychological levels on these. Likewise from the bottom here. So again, you can see consolidation. This was the big move to the upside. So again, this for me is where this move started, which sort of gives us an idea. So that's kind of where we are. But again, look, touch point and touch point. So this is kind of what you're trying to do, is work out where the key areas are that is playing out, and then it'll give you an idea in terms of shape. I mean, the other thing you could argue is say, well, where does the Fibonacci come down to? 236 at 276. The reason why I picked this is the start of the move down here. Look, where this big kind of consolidation range that then set the big move up to the upside. So yeah, Thoughts on Mr. Beast coin? Wouldn't touch it without barge pull. Not a chance. Celebrity meme coins are trash. Don't invest in them, in my opinion, by the way. In my opinion. You can if you want. It's your money, but tell me a successful celebrity meme coin. Because there isn't one, by the way. It's a trick question. There is not a successful celebrity meme coin. The scams. Even the ex-mayor of New York City launched a meme coin and scammed it for 1.2 million. Like, just celebrity meme coins are absolute garbage. Like celebrity NFT projects, garbage. Don't touch them. Curry says if the BTC Zero Alts pump Melania coin, yeah, I mean, if you can get in and make some money on them, then fine. But yeah, I'm new, but BTC got nice. Can't go wrong. Startups, if it's social, people believe he is BTC capitulation. No one will want to buy. Remember the buy the dip, folks. I mean, that's true as well. Why would it be a bear if M2 is skyrocketing and precious metals are high? The M2 is a debatable one, as in it is, and it's probably a element against it. Metals being high though tells you that people are going to risk off, so no one's going to invest in crypto when metals are going sky high. That's the problem you have. It's exactly that point. That if people are going into gold and going into silver, then that means that they are nervous for either monetary policy, recessionary fears. Remember, we looked at that. You know, people generally feel a recession is around the corner. So that all aligns exactly. That's why. And why can it be a bear market? It can be a crypto bear market. I think that's fair to say, for sure. For sure. Is the AI sector in a bear market? No, it's absolutely not. It's going to the freaking moon. But yeah. Matt said it wasn't that long ago that people were begging for these. I mean, there's always that funny kind of meme, isn't there? It's like everyone was buying at $110,000. No one wants to buy it at $75,000. That's why they all saying buy the dip. So I'm not retiring anytime soon, Jimbo. You know, neither am I, unfortunately. It's fine. We can do another bull market together, can't we? It's fine. Oh God. Now, interestingly, by the way, opens on the Asia markets actually look pretty reasonable. So we might get a little pump here into the Europe openings. Maybe. Joe Bro in the house. What's going on? Good to see you, man. Welcome to you. So yeah, historically, we haven't really seen anything too favorably when you look at gold versus BTC. I mean, we can overlay gold on here, just an example, just to give us an idea on the weekly candles. And yeah, generally, you don't sort of get these super crazy moves that we have not seen for a while. Let me try and find a gold. There we go. There you go. So that's the price of gold here against BTC. Just to sort of give you an idea. So you can see there, look, they generally correlate. Generally speaking, when you get a dump in gold, you get a pump in BTC. It's pretty obvious. Occasionally they do sort of follow the same sort of suit, here. But again, you can see where they both dump. One dumps, one pumps. One dumps, one pumps. You can see it. One dumps, one pumps. One dumps, one pumps. One dumps, one pumps. So right now, gold's pumping like oblivion and Bitcoin's dumping like oblivion. What you want to see is gold do that, Bitcoin do that, and somewhere here is where we get, more upside moves here for BTC. But yeah, that's why I think you can be in a bear market because, well, it feels like we are based on just, what you can see there with some of those. So, right. All right. Let's take a look here. 15-minute chart. Just FYI, we've got a weekly candle close in 7 minutes, but still looks a little bit bearish here on the 15-minute. There's gold, then there's BTC. That's true, Stu. Peanut was a celebrity coin. Yeah, I mean, technically it was. It technically was. I didn't lose money. I actually made money, but my unrealized gains were heavy on that. I'm all in on Mr. Beast coin. Really, Stardog? That surprised me. I feel like you're not, though. I feel like you're maybe not being truthful with that one. But hey, fair play. Is he actually launching? I didn't even know he was launching a meme coin, if I'm honest. Put your Bitcoin money into silver and gold, you will get amazing returns. I don't think so. You've got to be crazy. You think you're invested in gold right now? You must be wild. Gold is literally, I mean, in fairness, on the 5 minutes not. But look at that. I mean, stochastic RSI right now is probably slightly challenging for gold. But holy shit, it's been trending in an insanely overbought narrative. It's up 6.5%. It's probably added like $3 trillion onto its market cap. Buying gold right now would be insane. Does it mean that it can't pump to new all-time highs? You can't make another like 6% on your money. Maybe you can. 8%, sorry. Maybe you can. But certainly not for me right now. There's no way I'm going to FOMO into gold. No way. Now, what is true, though, is I could FOMO into gold. And that would collapse the price of it. But I'm gonna abstain from this one. We'll see. What's going on with Bed Bath and Beyond buy-in token? I have no idea what that even means. With all the negativity in general, I'm actually surprised it's nowhere lower. So many people are ruled by their emotions. Absolutely. That's why sometimes it's always good to be part of a community, because you can be like, oh, I'm freaking out. People are like, bro, it's fine. Just don't be in Husky Inu or Ask Rakino or anything. Will US government revalue BTC to lesser their national debt like they did gold? No. How can they? So the way that the US government did that is they basically took everyone's gold from them. They confiscated all private gold to make it, to do that. They couldn't do it with Bitcoin. It would be, it's absolutely impossible to do it. Now, doesn't mean they're not going to try. And that's why I think a lot of the stuff with things like Coinbase are getting you to tell them which is a wallet, tell them which is a DeFi wallet. When you want to move your coins, you got to tell them which wallet and if it's for you. Like, maybe they are going to try and do it. That's why DeFi is the way forward, by the way, in some respects. But yeah, we'll see. Are they going to tokenize sofas and lamps? I mean, possibly. Possibly. I mean, I'm obviously in the market for a new computer, by the way. I need to upgrade. And someone told me overclockers, you can actually pay with Bitcoin right now, which is interesting. Which I didn't know. And I guess would be good news if you can. Maybe I can buy all my new computer stuff using crypto. That'd be wild. I love it. OPF says, I run my business investments and general life by common sense. This channel runs on the same fuel. Let's get it, OPF Norfolk. Harry Pottery. Drop a Bitcoin, listen for it to hit the floor. Bro. BTC, bro. That's my Bitcoin there, look. No, I'm indeed, yeah. I was like, that's that would be interesting. If you've gone all in on Mr. Beast coin, I'm probably gonna have to have a look at it and be like, oh, maybe I should be going in on Mr. Beast coin. Maybe, but good. I'm glad you're not, because I don't want to go in on Mr. Beast coin. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. So okay, where are we at right now? BTC, look, see, I told you, 15-minute chart. It's coming down, baby. Look out for that 20-day EMA retest, 76,200. Let's bring up just the order book, just because I think it gives us kind of an idea as to what's fueling the moves right now. I don't think it's a really bad thing. So yeah, they sell those coins on Temu. Yeah, did I tell you the story about this? So obviously I mean it's becoming a bit more difficult than has done, but I haven't ever really been super public with this channel. Now I would love to have my notice in at work, and they say, "Oh, what are you going to go and do?" And I'd be like, "Well, for the last 4 years, I've been building a cryptocurrency-based YouTube channel." Everyone would be like, what the like, where's that come from? But yeah, so I haven't really ever shared that. But yeah, someone got me them as like a Secret Santa for Christmas, which was a little bit awkward, because you're like, how do you know that I invest in crypto? Be more like Mr. Fleece coin. Ooh. Gold will bottom with BTC. Do you think gold's going to collapse? I think gold definitely pushes down, but yeah. I think gold's 10K. You are on your own, because not even the banks think it's going to 10K. All the top analysts don't think it's going to 10K. So, I mean, 10K would be wild. I think you generally would see people that are flocking to the streets. What's insane, though, is that people think it's like, realized gains. You couldn't go into a shop and be like, hi, I want to sell this gold. Well, how much have you got? Well, I've got 10 ounces. And yeah, apparently the price is $10,000 an ounce. They'll be like, nope, it's not. It's not. So I'm just seeing what's going on. They're taking questions in the Trump thing, but it's all to do with JE, so we're not bothered about that. Just a minute. Mad says, we'll survive and thrive. The bright side is the best side. No, I'm not. Yeah, I agree. We've been here before. We've been in worse. Think about it. We were here for FTX. Oh, I know what we were going to look for. That reminds me, actually. We were going to look for the October 10th live stream, weren't we? Where the markets absolutely went to zero. Remember that? I live streamed the whole thing. I need to close Trump down, though. The Timu ones have got chocolate in them. Yeah, they don't, by the way, so we're fine. Right. Content live stream. So, how long ago was it? I can't remember what the title was. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. How long ago was it? That is the big question. October 10th. Hey, cheers, Curtis, you absolute hero. So, where does that one go back to? November. Oh, yeah, I can see it by dates, actually. Oh, nice. All right, here we go then. October 10th. Got it. Got it. Had nearly 2,000 views. All right. Strap in, people. We're bringing it up. Right. BTC was 116. I mean, it was a bad day. Look at that. We were at 116. Let's look at these prices here. 160. Should I take my face off or is that going to get super confusing? So we were at 116 here. Move on the market was really good today. There. I generally thought we were probably going to see a little bit of an upside move. When did it start to collapse, though? That's the question. It was like towards the end of the stream, wasn't it? Oh yeah, it's here. Look, here it goes. Here we go. So yeah, we were just trying to chat in. Look, it's all a big scam. Right. Okay. Well, I mean, Pine Ranch sounds crazy. I think it's trying Bad Mars Bar last month and they loved it. Heart attack and a chocolate. But yeah, I mean, I can imagine. Yes, I'm going to stream the Trump. As long as he comes on like in a reasonable time, then yeah, I'll stream it. I've got it. It's here. Look, I've got the live feed here. Look. So as soon as we get him on, we'll bring it up and we'll listen in and we'll see what he says. We'll see what he says. I don't know what these. I don't know what this guy's saying at the minute.
Federal agents, including Tifa gunmen,
right now. Too much sticks. Okay, now, do you know what's fun though when you look at your portfolio? I mean, it's not fun obviously at all, but I mean, look at Pepe right now, down to the 8-1 range. That's insane. Brett down 20%. Fuck me. What a day. I mean, holy shit. Tim works 100% on top of what they, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's an absolute like power. I mean, I don't even know what it is, like some sort of crazy lunatic power play. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, the want to just to give us a bit of a feel like I'm going to be that guy. This is fucking bad news. I don't think the bear market's here, but holy shit, this is not good news at all. Man, we are literally going to hit this line. What is going on right now? What is going on? Bitcoin just done 8%. Fucking hell, it's collapsing. It's collapsing. It is literally collapsing. What is going on right now? This is fucking insane. Made $800 on that ETH short. Nice, bro. That's a great shot. That is one of the biggest wicks I think I've seen ever in Bitcoin history. 8.5%. Oh, wow. Wow. That's all I'll say. That is bad news. I mean, I think I'm keeping up. Investment fund, if anyone's interested. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, what you'll have on top of this as well, by the way, it'll be, I've seen 10%. Look at fucking top. Oh my God. Yeah, pretty painful. What did I miss? XRP just got smoked. The whole market for it's not just got smoked, is getting obliterated right now. Getting absolutely obliterated. Probably one of the biggest dumps I think I've seen in crypto history, really. It's another moment to stick in the another moment to stick on the list. This, Tim, definitely. Look at this. I think this is where loads of the altcoins just like completely collapse. Look at this dump right now. Holy crap. That is a disgusting dump. Someone get Donald Trump on the phone, ask him what the fuck he's doing. What do you think about XRP? I think it's on sale right now. 218, 22.5% down on XRP. That is like, that is some sort of crazy ass shit right now. Man, government shutdown effect, we'll be fine. Yeah. I mean, we're not going to be fine just in the short term, by the way, because we're absolutely, ETH's down nearly 20%. The markets, look at this. Sui's down 33%. Am I missing something? Am I missing something right now? Sui's about to break $2. It's down 35%. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, in all seriousness, guys, what is actually going on? Aerodrome's down 40% right now. What is happening? Like, I know, look, I've been around in this market for a long time, but on a serious note, what is actually happening right now? Look at this market. Ondo is down 60%. What? What is it like on a, I mean, I don't want to scare anyone to death. Ondo's down 60%. Holy shit, I need to be buying some of this stuff. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, has someone just closed the crypto market? Has someone closed the crypto market? There we go. I mean, holy shit. We literally filmed that. That was the day, I think. Yeah, that was the day that everything got screwed, by the way. That was the day that everything just kind of went to absolute Goblin Town. Like, official Goblin Town. If anyone's interested, by the way, there's a link to the live stream. We should make some clips out of that. We should make some clips out of it. I made like 3K on that bounce of Ondo that day. Yeah, that was wild. I mean, technically, what was Ondo? 33 cents? I'm like, I need to buy more Ondo. It's at 33 cents. Quick, get bullish, get bullish, get bullish. Oh, it's 28 cents today. I might as well have just fucking waited. Anyway. Yeah, GT, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Banksters and Trump clan. Viva la Bacon. Yeah, the bull run ended and it's going to the bear market, same as the other 4-year cycle. WF Capital. Yeah, we're just saying, I think the 10-10 was the, you know, that was the problem, wasn't it? That was the straw that broke the camel's back, I think is what they officially say. So, yeah. Bad news, but Bitcoin just lost $100. That must have been a fairly large, what was that? They just went 1.37 million. There you go, look. Short trade, just absolutely dumping this market. See, we said we'd come down 20-day EMA, exactly as we predicted. Like I said, we're just kind of seeing what's going on. Remember, by the way, MB says things get seriously bad now too, but yes, they are. They are. That's definitely not good, by the way. Not good at all. They said both the disc and the digital version will launch in November. Oh, I don't know what that is, but yeah. But yeah, look out, 20-day EMA. Now, again, if you want to be a member of the Discord, check the link out in the description. Also, it is in my bio. And if you become a channel member, a premium channel member, by the way, which essentially means that you get a premium access, you get to our bots. We also have our how to trade the 20-day EMA guide, all right? The reason I say this is because I put a lot of work into these to try and make sure that these are aligned to you as a trader. Maybe you're brand new to it, whatever. Getting involved. This tells you what to look for, how to trade these, what some of the key areas are. All of this, look. You get this for free. It's $6 a month. What, bro? Here we go, look. 20-day EMA. What a perfect short that would have been. What a perfect short. 15 minutes. 76.1 would have just netted you about 2% bullish. The question, though, is, are we going to get a bounce off this range? That is what we are looking for. Whether we will or not is a bigger debate, my friends. So we will see. But yeah, Bitcoin dropping right now. Maybe it saw me put the video of the other one on. 75,900 alts obviously getting completely nuked. Are we about to get a bounce off that 20 EMA? Maybe. A strong bounce here could actually be pretty good news if we were to get it. I'm not holding my breath though, but we'll see. Epic night that was, and we're still absolutely, yeah, exactly, Stardog. It was the thing of history. We should have definitely clipped that, by the way. I was thinking this as well. I don't know if you guys have social media accounts and all the rest of it, but I feel like to expand the channel more, it would be good to clip certain bits. And you say, well, if those clips get like 1,000 views, then you earn yourself $5 or something. I want to build a new website as well, like tubitcrypto.com or something. Maybe do something like that. Try and expand the channel out far and wide. That's kind of what we got to do. Got to push the channel. Yeah, here, look, broke the 20-day EMA. So what you don't want to see here is a break and a continuation to the downside. So again, this could see us come down as low as 75,600. Yeah, looks like it's breaking below. Big sell-off right now. What did Trump announce? He must have said something. He must have said something for this market to do this right now. Wish I doshed to buy for sure. Stewie. President Trump will sign the bill to reopen the government. That was, yeah, okay, we said that. Justin, President Trump confirms Tim Walz's efforts to distract away from the billions in Somali fraud by signing rights will not work. Okay. Bitcoin's realized profit loss ratio nearing 1. All right. So yeah, there's nothing I can see right now, but it definitely looks like some things just changed. So yeah, I mean, look, this is the thing. You break the 20-day EMA, you now pull momentum down to probably 75,648. That's probably the next range. That could be a TP. Take profit zone, maybe, on this 20 EMA. This could come way lower, by the way, as well. So, but yeah, interesting. Interesting. We will see. But well, I mean, maybe Stewie. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Government closing vote ended. Yeah, I mean, they're reopening the government. In fairness, so yeah, it's like not a thing anymore. The government reopening is fine. Trump worried about Chinese getting bigger into crypto. Well, Trump's worried about the AI narrative. So don't forget, they've just agreed to fund Saudi Arabia with AI chips, which may end up in the hands of the Chinese, which I think is what he's worried about. But yeah. We usually go down on bullish news and pump new here. Don't know what that means. Marky Mark. Or Marty Mark, as it were. As I said, both this. Oh, I didn't see them. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, 15-minute broke the 20. So this is why the important thing is on the 20-day. And again, what does the how to trade 20s tell us? If it breaks, multi-time frame, trailing stop losses, position sizes, stops and invalidation. So shorts above most recent swing high or above the EMA plus buffer. That's where you'd be looking at as a potential swing from that 20-day EMA. So we didn't get it. So again, your trend would continue down to create a lower low or lower high. So again, that's why you'd be talking about this range here. So you'd probably be looking at a potential even wick slightly lower in line with this 20-day EMA around 75,453. Maybe. Equally, we could rally back up, bounce off the 20-day and head back up here. But equally, that would have been a nice trade there. Again, above that 20-day EMA. So yeah. Is anyone buying at the moment? No, I don't think it's a good idea to buy at the moment, if I'm honest. I think, just my opinion, and you are obviously welcome to do what you want with your money. But my view is that there could be more downside. There could be more volatility in the market. I just don't think it's worth it, really. Don't think it's worth it, in my opinion. Ripple holds 35% of the XRP total supply and can dump on holders when they see. Well, they do it once a month. Albeit, I can't remember what the last time the escrow was. I don't think it was the biggest. I don't think they sold loads, but yeah, interesting. Everyone waiting for the White House to open again. Yeah, well, I think it'll open tomorrow, won't it? So they've just voted to say that, yeah, yes, they are doing. President Trump shuts down CNN's Caitlin Collins' attempts to corner him on nationalizing elections. See, this is the other thing. The economy's like taking a back seat right now. It's kind of this filibuster, getting this kind of election mandate through. Like, he's got to flip to the market at some point. He's got to flip to the stock market, although the stock market's rallying, but he's got to do something to drive it. He obviously wants to sign the market structure bill, which would be good news. You know, whether we get that or not, I guess is the bigger debate right now. But yeah, oh my God, I just smashed into that. I've heard Robert Dover is a legend, so have I. Better returns off Temu at the moment. 37, you're probably right. You're probably right. To a degree, maybe. Will it come to 74k? I mean, it could do. I don't necessarily think it comes there tonight. I mean, if we get a big capitulation. I mean, look, back to the 20-day EMA right now. So again, you could, if you wanted to, if you were trading or scalp trading, so you're not bothered about the longer term, you take a long here off the 20-day EMA, potentially with a TP at around 76,000. You may get a nice little uptick. Depends how you're feeling. Depends whether you want to trade it or not. Like I said, don't forget, check out Bitunix. Link in the description and in my profile. Head over there. Definitely worth a look. In my opinion, by the way. In my opinion. So, good. All right. What time is it? 1 hour and 20 minutes we've been live, baby. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah, BTC back to 74k. I mean, it's definitely on the cards, isn't it? But yeah, we'll see. Markets look very, very weak right now. Again, you've got on a macro side of things, just real nervousness out there in the market. So real nervousness, but yeah. All right, everybody. I do need to get going. I just realized that I actually need to be somewhere. I totally forgot that I meant to actually be in a live stream chatting about something that could be pretty exciting, everybody. So stick around. I'll definitely be keeping you guys all up to speed with what's going on. So lots of discussions right now with some pretty exciting projects and some pretty exciting stuff as well going on. So as always, Thank you so much for tuning into the live stream. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. If you want to stay up to date with this market, this is the place to be. Like I said, join well over 39,500 people and an average 1,000 people that watch this stream every single night. So we're pretty bullish on you guys. As always, thank you so much. Again, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. We will be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UK time. Stay up to date with everything until then. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Catch you on the flip side.